Have you ever stopped to wonder why the moon appears exactly the same size as the sun in our sky? That's not a coincidence. That's the moment we should all pause and ask ourselves, what else are we missing? On November 5th, 2025, something extraordinary happens. The moon reaches its closest point to Earth, appearing 14% larger and 30% brighter than usual. We call it a supermoon. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't just a visual spectacle. This is a gravitational conversation between two celestial bodies, and your body is listening, whether you realize it or not. Most people see the supermoon and think it's just another astronomical event to photograph. But throughout human history, our ancestors understood something we've forgotten. They knew these cycles meant something. They weren't superstitious. They were paying attention to patterns we've now chosen to ignore. Before we go any further, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next video that explains what's really happening beneath the surface of these cosmic events. Click that notification bell because the algorithms are designed to keep you in the dark, and we're here to shine a light on it. Here's the question we're exploring today. What if the moon isn't just affecting the tides? What if it's affecting you in ways science is only beginning to understand? Let's start with something that sounds complicated but is actually quite simple. The moon doesn't orbit Earth in a perfect circle. It never has. Instead, it follows an elliptical path, which means sometimes it's closer to us and sometimes it's farther away. This isn't new information. Astronomers have known this for centuries. But here's what's interesting. Most people have no idea this is happening. Think about it. You're moving through space on a planet that's orbiting the sun, while simultaneously being orbited by a moon on a constantly changing trajectory. You're not standing still. None of us are. We're all part of a cosmic dance with very specific, very measurable geometry. The ancient civilizations understood something about this geometry that we've relegated to the category of superstition. The Mayans, the Egyptians, the Vedic scholars, they weren't making things up. They were observing patterns. They were measuring cycles. They built calendars around these movements because they recognized that this geometry meant something. It communicated something. In November 2025, the moon reaches perigee, the closest point in its elliptical orbit. At this moment, the gravitational pull increases by approximately 46% compared to when the moon is at its farthest point. Now, before you dismiss this as just a number on a page, consider this. You're made of 70% water. Your brain is even more water-dense than that. A 46% increase in gravitational pull isn't subtle. Your body feels this, even if your conscious mind doesn't register it. Here's the problem most people face. They separate the physical from the spiritual. They think something is either scientifically real or spiritually meaningful, but never both. This is a false choice. The gravitational force is measurable, quantifiable, and real. The human response to that force is also measurable, and increasingly, science is catching up to what wisdom traditions have always known. The solution isn't to reject science or to reject spirituality. The solution is to recognize that they're describing the same phenomenon from different angles. The moon's orbit follows mathematical principles that appear throughout nature. The same ratios, the same proportions, the same sacred geometry that shows up in sunflowers, spiral galaxies, and the human body itself. This isn't metaphorical. This is observable reality. During perigee, something shifts. The moon is closer. Its gravitational influence intensifies. The tides surge higher. But here's where it gets interesting. The tides aren't random. They follow predictable patterns, but those patterns vary based on geography, lunar phase, and countless other factors. The problem we face is reduction. We reduce the moon's influence to a simple mechanical force, gravity pulling on water. But mechanics doesn't account for everything. It doesn't explain why people report feeling different during a full moon. It doesn't explain why hospitals report more births and more emergencies during certain lunar phases. It doesn't explain why your sleep patterns might shift, or why your intuition might feel sharper, or why you suddenly feel more emotional than usual. Science is beginning to catch up to these observations. Recent studies in chronobiology, the study of biological time, show that lunar cycles do affect human physiology. Your circadian rhythms aren't just responding to sunlight. They're also responding to moonlight and to gravitational fluctuations. Your hormones shift. Your nervous system recalibrates. This isn't woo. This is biology. The solution is to stop treating these experiences as anomalies and start treating them as information. Your body is a sophisticated instrument, constantly gathering data from its environment. When the moon approaches, when the gravitational pull intensifies, when the light in the night sky dramatically increases, your body notices. Your pineal gland, your nervous system, your hormonal cascade, they're all receiving a signal. What if the ancients weren't making things up when they said the full moon was a time of heightened power and transformation? What if they were simply observing what's actually happening in human physiology? The Supermoon of November 5th isn't just an event happening in the sky. It's an event happening in your body, in your cells, in your neurochemistry. The question isn't whether it's real. The question is, are you paying attention? Here's something to consider. During a supermoon, the gravitational pull is stronger, yes, but it's also more concentrated, more focused. Instead of a diffuse influence, you get a more intense one. It's the difference between a gentle breeze and a focused wind. Same element, different intensity. Your nervous system can feel that difference. November carries a specific message across human cultures. It's the threshold between autumn and winter in the northern hemisphere. It's harvest time's end. It's preparation time. The ancient name for November's full moon, the Beaver Moon, isn't arbitrary. It tells us something important about what nature is communicating. The problem most people have with this time of year is that they're disconnected from natural cycles. You go to a building with artificial light, artificial temperature control, artificial rhythm. You're somewhat disconnected from the seasonal shift that's happening outside. But your body knows. Your body remembers. Evolution doesn't erase that quickly. The beavers know what's coming. They're building their dams, reinforcing their lodges, gathering their resources. They're not stressed about it. They're not anxious. They're responding to a signal, a cosmic signal that says, prepare, consolidate, conserve. That's what the Beaver Moon communicates. It's not a prediction of something bad. It's an invitation to a natural rhythm of contraction and rest. The solution is to align with this message instead of fighting against it. In November, instead of pushing harder, consider deepening your rest. Instead of expanding outward, consider consolidating inward. Instead of scattering your energy, consider concentrating it. This isn't mystical. This is strategic. Throughout history, wisdom traditions have always known this. The Vedic calendar marks November as a time for introspection. Celtic traditions saw this as a time when the veil between worlds thinned. Native American cultures understood this as a time of gratitude for what was harvested and preparation for what was to come. Different frameworks, same underlying recognition. Something shifts in November. Scientists love to explain away the supermoon by calling it an optical illusion. They say your brain is tricking you. The moon looks bigger because you're comparing it to familiar objects on the horizon. Buildings, trees, landscape. That comparison makes your brain perceive it as larger than it actually is. And technically, they're right about the geometry. But here's what they're missing. They're confusing the mechanism with the meaning. The problem with this explanation is that it dismisses human perception as faulty. It suggests that what you're experiencing isn't real. But think about this. Your perception is how you relate to reality. If your nervous system detects something during the supermoon, heightened awareness, sensitivity, energy, that's not an illusion. That's information. What if the optical illusion isn't actually your brain being fooled? What if it's your brain detecting something that the scientific framework isn't equipped to measure? When the moon is low on the horizon, it appears larger. But it's also lower in the sky, which means traveling through more of Earth's atmosphere, which scatters light differently, which changes the color and quality of the light reaching your eyes. That different quality of light triggers different responses in your nervous system. Closer to the landscape, which means appearing in a context that feels more intimate, more relatable, more connected to your immediate reality. That contextual shift changes your emotional response, appearing during the exact time when many people are present to witness it, during the evening hours when people are naturally more reflective, more introspective, more attuned to subtle shifts in their internal states. So is it an illusion? Only if you define reality as purely objective measurement. But if you define reality as the intersection between objective phenomena and conscious perception, then no, it's not an illusion. It's an authentic human experience of a very real celestial event. The solution is to honor what you perceive while also understanding the mechanisms behind it. Both things are true simultaneously. The optical effect is real. Your perception of something shifting internally is also real. They're not contradictory. Here's a question that should bother you if you actually think about it. Why does the moon appear exactly the same size as the sun during a solar eclipse? The sun is about 400 times larger than the moon, but it's also about 400 times farther away. This means they appear the same size in our sky every single time. For billions of years, this has held true. It's not going to change tomorrow. The probabilities of this happening by chance are so astronomically small that mathematicians struggle to even express it. Some might call that coincidence. Others might call that design. The problem is that we've been trained to accept coincidence as an explanation for patterns that are too perfect to be random. We've been taught to see mathematics as merely descriptive, that it just describes reality but doesn't create it. But consider this. The Fibonacci sequence appears in sunflower seeds, in galaxy spirals, in the proportions of the human body, in the arrangement of leaves on trees. The golden ratio, 1.618, appears everywhere in nature. What if mathematics isn't just describing reality? What if mathematics is the fundamental language of reality? And what if the moon appearing the exact same size as the sun isn't a coincidence, but a clue that we're supposed to pay attention to? Ancient cultures knew about these patterns. The megalithic builders of Stonehenge and the pyramids positioned their structures with astronomical precision that we're only now fully appreciating. They understood something about cosmic alignment and harmonic proportion. They knew that the universe communicated through pattern, through number, through proportion. The solution is to start looking at the universe as a language rather than as a machine. Every supermoon, every eclipse, every planetary alignment, these aren't accidents. They're part of a vast mathematical harmony. November's supermoon participates in this harmony. When you observe it, You're not just looking at a rock reflecting sunlight. You're participating in a cosmic conversation that's been ongoing since the beginning of time. Let's get specific about what's happening in your biology during the supermoon. This is where science and experience finally start to align. Your pineal gland is sensitive to light, extremely sensitive. When there's more moonlight, 30% brighter during a supermoon, your pineal gland receives different signals. It adjusts melatonin production accordingly. Your sleep might be different. Some people sleep better, others sleep less. Some report vivid dreams. It's not uniform because your unique biochemistry, your location, your sensitivity, all of these factors matter. Your nervous system is constantly reading the environment. It's not just reading temperature or sound. It's reading electromagnetic fields, light frequencies, gravitational variations, all of it. During a supermoon, with the moon closer and brighter, your nervous system receives a different cascade of inputs. Some people experience this as anxiety. Others experience it as heightened intuition. Some feel energized. Others feel the call to rest. All of these are valid nervous system responses to a real change in environmental conditions. Your hormonal system is part of this too. Cortisol, adrenaline, oxytocin, serotonin. The entire endocrine system is responsive to light, to cyclical patterns, to gravitational fields. A supermoon creates a measurable shift in these systems. It's not your imagination. The problem is that modern life encourages you to override these signals, to ignore them, to take a sleeping pill instead of honoring your body's need for less sleep, to medicate anxiety instead of understanding that your nervous system might be appropriately responding to a real shift in external conditions, to suppress intuition instead of developing it. The solution is integration. Work with what's happening in your body during the supermoon instead of against it. If you're feeling more sensitive, honor that sensitivity. If you're feeling called to rest, allow yourself to rest. If you're experiencing heightened intuition, pay attention to the insights arising. If you're feeling more emotional, allow those emotions to move through you instead of resisting them. This isn't advice to be reckless or to stop your normal responsibilities. It's advice to attune, to pay attention, to recognize that your body is receiving information that has value. The supermoon of November 5th, 2025, isn't creating these effects in isolation. It's part of a larger rhythm that's been operating since you were born. But during this concentrated moment, the signal is stronger, the invitation is clearer, the opportunity to align is more accessible. Here's what we've discovered today. The supermoon isn't just a visual event. It's a gravitational event, a biological event, and a communication from the cosmos about cycles, preparation, and alignment. But here's the real question that should be nagging at you right now. If the moon influences us in these ways, what about the other cycles we're not paying attention to? What about solar cycles? What about planetary transits? What about the larger cosmic rhythms that shape our reality in ways we barely understand? If you made it this far in the video, you already know more about what's really happening during a supermoon than most people ever will. But there's so much more to explore. There's so much more beneath the surface. Leave a comment with one word that describes what you felt during the last full moon. Was it peace? Energy? Transformation? Intuition? Share that with us, because we're building a community of people who actually pay attention to these signals instead of dismissing them. And if this resonated with you, subscribe to this channel, because we're going to keep exploring these cosmic codes, these patterns, these messages that nature is constantly sending. The algorithm wants to keep you distracted and disconnected. We're here to help you reconnect. There's a video playing right now that dives even deeper into the cycles affecting your life. It's the natural next step in this exploration. Check it out, and let's continue this conversation together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.